What's happening, guys? Welcome back to the Jared and James channel. I'm Jared Weiss. If you guys didn't know, that must mean that you're not subscribed to the channel, so you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave a like, drop a comment, let me know what you guys think of this video. Follow me on every platform. So for today's Rabbit Hole Roundup episode, unfortunately, RJ was unable to be here, but we're actually being joined by an incredibly awesome guest. I've actually had numerous conversations with this guy online. He posts incredible content, and like he's actually known as the self-proclaimed Fittest Flat Earther. Please welcome to the channel, Tyler Hansen.
Yep, definitely self-proclaimed. I don't, no one has given me this title. It is purely my own that I gave to myself.
I love it though. All right,
Yeah.
wait. So I can to start things off. Would you mind telling everyone a little bit about yourself, like what you do, who you are, and then from there, I definitely can't wait to dive into your journey to the truth,
Yeah.
As well as a bunch of different rabbit holes, tons of awesome topics that we have today.
Oh yeah, I can't wait. So my name is Tyler Hansen. Just a little about me. I'm a teacher. I'm 43 years old. I've been teaching for 20 years. I teach physical education, mostly strength and conditioning classes. I'm married to my beautiful wife, Liza, and I'm a dog dad. So no kids, just dogs. Have 2 right now. At this time last year, I had 4 dogs. So yeah, just living my life, seeking a lot of truth. And like Jared said, or like you said, diving down rabbit holes very frequently.
Same here. All right, wait. So my first question for you is, how did you actually start your personal awakening journey, and also how has it been being a teacher, who's part of the whole education system, and having this whole awakening, have you gotten tons of judgment? What has it been like socially? All that stuff.
It's been insane. It's been a roller coaster for sure. I as far as first getting into truth, it was I knew about 9/11
right
a dozen years ago, 15 years ago. And it's funny, even back way when I first figured out about 9/11, what I have thought the whole time is I really have thought I saw some videos where it was presenting several different alternative theories of what happened. And the first one was, they were all alternative theories. And the first one was that it was a controlled demolition. And I was like, okay, that made sense. And then the second
Building 7,
yeah,
all that
exactly.
stuff.
And then the second narrative was, God, what was that one? Something with thermite, and it was different than the controlled demolition, but still an intentional takedown of it. But then the
inside
last
job.
One, yes, exactly.
Right.
But then the last one I came to, which at the time, because it was 2003 or 4, sounded insane to me, but it made the most sense, was that it was some advanced form of technology, like a direct energy weapon.
Right.
Go
ahead. And then the whole thing is more recently, that whole theory, because obviously gained tons of traction, especially with everything that happened in Lahaina.
Yeah, exactly. And so for that all these years, I've thought it was that, even though there's never been any traction or talk or anything in the in any communities about a direct energy weapon. So I've thought it was a direct energy weapon for almost 20 years, but that never really led me into other rabbit holes for some reason. It gave me the knowledge that I shouldn't trust the government, and that they're pretty rotten, terrible, evil people. And it never, for whatever reason, it never just sent me down figuring other stuff out or looking into it. I'm a pretty busy guy with teaching, and I've always coached multiple sports, and I'm pretty busy just with my own training and fitness. So it just I never had that motivation to go deeper, other than with health and nutrition stuff, that, knowing that, I figured out early on, because it was my my job and my interest, that there was craziness to the health and nutrition, and pharma was probably pushing a lot of the agenda. So, but that didn't really lead me to truth until the past year, really. This past year is when the veil has been revealed and my eyes are wide open, and I'm a guy that just like truth. I need truth in my life. So once I
Right.
realized I was being
Same
lied
here.
to, I just like I had to dig in and figure out everything.
Yeah. What has that been like as far as like interacting with like family and friends, like other teachers? Like so, like have you gotten tons of like criticism, like, and also like have you actually received like any surprising support, like from new people? Like have you been able like to like find like new communities out there, like and that sort of stuff?
Yeah, it's I'm a pretty extreme guy. Some of my friends like call me Mr. Extreme. If I'm passionate about something, I'm all in. So when I started,
Thanks.
yeah, same.
Yeah, same here. I'm I'm the
I,
exact same way.
yeah, so I wasn't any different when I started coming across these truths. I
Right.
like to explain it as like I just turned on the fire hose and was just blasting everybody and like people that didn't want it, and I was still doing it because to me, like I was trying to let people know, like and like other truthers know, like just trying to let people know, hey, you're being lied to about some pretty big things, and I care about you, and I
Yeah.
really want you to know that. And nobody, like literally no one in my life, um, gave what I was saying any consideration or thought, or you know, their thoughts was something was wrong with me, that I had a brain tumor, that I used to play football, and that maybe I had CTE going on, that
Really?
yeah, that I was delusional. So I hit like I had a really rough road because all I was on summer break really when I started to go through my awakening from teaching. I was on summer
Mhm.
break, and so I luckily wasn't at school and not interacting with students and coworkers, but I had this period of time where just like all my close friends and family just thought something was wrong with me. And I'm like, no, there's not something wrong. Like you should just like look at some of these things,
Right.
like care to seek truth yourself. And there just was a lot of turmoil in my life for a while because, like I said, I was pretty extreme about trying to let people know. And I think what happens, especially with flat Earth, I think it causes people to go into a fight or flight mode. And the way I like to think of it is like, we're so ingrained and so indoctrinated to believe we live on a spinning globe
Right.
without knowing much about it.
Any
And
proof.
yeah, no proof, no evidence.
It's
Like
crazy.
anyone who usually believes they live on a globe couldn't tell you the first thing about it, like
Right,
how.
right, yeah. So it's like something that actually happens to be very funny. So like Eddie Bravo, like so he's actually always saying to people like something that's actually really crazy is like he actually happens to know more about the whole globe model, like compared to people like who actually believe in that, like, which
Yeah,
is bizarre.
100%. I literally just made a post the other day of like people like that are being trolls, and it's
Mhm.
like know what you're defending. Like if you're gonna troll and be rude to people, at least know what you're defending. And
Mhm.
that's part of how I came to be a flat earther, is because I learned the globe model.
Right.
And I lost where I was going with that.
Sorry about that.
No, it's
I
okay.
didn't mean to interrupt.
No, but basically, like I drove a lot of people away. Oh, that's what I was saying, is like we don't have, because we're just told to believe in the globe, and because we don't have any sort of thought process of anything else it could be. I think when you breach the subject with someone, they can't even, there's no like file for them to access in their brain to even start thinking of what else they could live on. So it's like I think it really becomes a fight or flight moment where, because of self-preservation, they're like, I can't handle this. It's making me feel uncomfortable internally, whether they realize it or not. And it's like fight you on it or just
Mhm.
flee. And I got mostly a lot of people just fleeing, a lot of people that wanted to really not communicate with me anymore, spend time with me anymore, see me anymore. Uh,
Wow.
so when that happened, I really felt like my inner circle of friends, my outer circle of friends, my family, I was just in a rough spot with everyone. So when it came time to go back to school, I actually took a leave of absence because I didn't want to,
Really?
yeah, I didn't want to add 1,500 more people to be in turmoil with. And I was at a
Mm,
point where I wasn't like, now I'm cool, calm, collected for the most part about being a flat earther. But at the
uh,
time, I was like, I wasn't going to go to school and be able to keep my mouth shut about it. So
right.
I didn't want to get fired, and I didn't want to be, causing divisiveness with anyone at school. So I had the sick days to take and still get paid with it. So I got a paid leave of absence and have only just gone back the past couple weeks.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. That's super interesting. So like how would you start so like let's just say like some open-minded person like comes up to you and like says to you prove to me that we're on a flat plane like like we're not on this spinning ball like so how would you start someone off like when it comes to proving someone like the flat earth model?
It honestly depends on the individual.
Mm,
In my opinion, I've had a few people that I've shown that have gone all the way to become flat earthers, but not a lot, but a few. And
right.
in the few that I have had a strong biblical background. They've had a strong believer in
Interesting.
God and the Bible. So it's like, it's the people that are the easiest to show, I think, are the ones that when you can show that scripture in the Bible lines up with where we live isn't a spinning ball, but more of a
Right.
fixed, unmovable plane or realm.
Mhm.
They're able to. So, but like if you have someone that's not very or Bible inclined or a big believer in God or the Bible,
Mhm.
one of the biggest things. I live pretty close to Chicago, and I think one of the best proofs there is that you can see Chicago from 60 miles, if not further away. And you're not seeing
The
just the top,
skyline, you mean?
yeah, the skyline. You can see if you go across Lake Michigan to Michigan, you can see the full skyline. And if you believe in that you live on a globe, there's clearly, there is a number, there is a size of the ball, there is a size of a globe that not me, but the scientist and in the books say it is. So if we know the size and the circumference, that has to line up with a curve rate. And
Right.
there's
And
curve,
like speaking with so like I'm pretty sure like Matty Bravo like actually calculated the whole like curve rate like like it's actually supposed to be like 8 inches like per meter squared or
uh,
something like that.
yeah, 8 inches per mile squared.
Yes, that's what it
Yeah.
is.
Yep. So Chicago, if you're standing 60 miles away, then you do the calculations of it. And basically, what it comes out to is there should be, if you're 60 miles away, there should be 2,400 feet
Of
of,
curvature.
of blocked curvature. It even says, like, if you go to Google, even Google, the most censored search engine ever,
Right.
will show you what the curve rate should be. And there's dozens of calculators. It's not flat Earth calculators. It's like the calculators the globe people give,
Uh-huh.
and it's 2,400 feet of blocked view from 60 miles away, but you see the whole Willis Tower, which is only 1,400 feet tall. So it's like right there, it's like smack in the face. But
Mhm.
then, the Chicago News will claim it's a mirage or Fata
Right.
Morgana or stuff like that. So um, that's how big and crazy the lie is that the news will make stories up to cover the fact that you can see Chicago from too far.
Yeah. So then, like, how would you respond to someone like who says to you, "Why the lie?" So it's like I've definitely seen like a lot of people like who like for whatever reason aren't able like to comprehend the people like who are in power the people like who are actually writing the textbooks like the people like who are in charge of the whole like Rockefeller like education system like a lot of people like for whatever reason like can't understand like the purpose like behind telling people like stop like trusting your senses to not even like research and stuff like for themselves like and like just it's just like convince them that like someone like who's smarter than you like did all the research therefore you just have to like trust them and like follow the science and all that stuff. What do you think they're actually hiding behind these layers of lies?
Well, I have my opinion, what I believe it to be, and then I have some other, I think there are other things that my opinion I think is pretty hard to believe if you're not a spiritual person, if you don't believe in God already, if you don't believe in the Bible, my opinion is a hard jump. So what I believe it to be, and I 100% believe this is like what I feel in my soul, is what I feel just from my research, is that it is basically a satanic lie. It's a lie to hide God, and I'm proof that it does, because I didn't believe in God for 42 years, and I wouldn't say I was an atheist, but if you asked me if I believed in God, I would be like, flip a coin, maybe 50%, maybe. And then the other
Really?
50% was like, maybe we just die and like rot in the earth. But so like, I am proof that when you believe in a globe and you believe you are just one of trillions of planets, and that you're
Right.
not in this important, like very special place, and that the Big Bang and evolution and
Yeah, yeah.
dinosaurs and all that stuff is real, it makes you, it hides God from you. So I really think that is
Right.
a giant evil lie to hide God from people, to steal souls. And I know that's hard. That'll be hard for some people to believe. So sometimes when there's those people I know, it'll be hard, and they ask me, I'm always an honest person, but there are other theories, like potentially it is to hide land, to hide extra land. There's been people that have, like
That's part
Admiral,
of it, I think.
yeah, there've been, obviously, I know you've done podcast and talked about
Yes.
Admiral Byrd and the
Admiral
extra
Byrd.
land.
I remember then also like on top of that, you also Captain Cook, like
Yeah,
who actually traveled like 60,000 miles, like was not able to find like any entrance. I remember then like, the crazy thing is like, meanwhile, according to the textbooks, like Antarctica like is only supposed to be like this tiny dot, like which is like supposedly 12,000 miles or something like that. But like this guy traveled 60,000 plus. I mean, like supposedly he never even like finished like in this whole journey. I don't think.
yeah, it's crazy. Like, to think of 60,000 miles, like the Earth isn't even supposed to be 60,000 miles.
Right, yeah.
That's
Uh-huh.
funny thing with that is I'm actually very good friends with Admiral Byrd's great nephew, and
Really?
he is one of the few people I have helped see that he does not live on a globe.
That's super
Yeah, so
interesting.
it's kind
Wait,
of
wait,
like,
wait, 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 wait. So come had you actually get him in touch with him?
how am I friends with him?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I've been friends with him. We went to high school together,
Really?
but I didn't
That's
know,
crazy.
until the past year, I had no idea
Uh-huh.
who Admiral Byrd was. And then after I became a flat earther, he and I, we weren't super close in high school, but we've always kept in touch. And like, he's a big believer in God. So I
Mhm.
think he started to see me posting things, and then like we just started talking more. And at one point he was like, I think I posted on Admiral Byrd, and he's like, Tyler, like, he's my great uncle. And I'm like, what?
That's so crazy.
Yeah. So it's kind of, I'm proud, like, pat myself on the back for turning or helping Admiral Byrd's great
Right.
nephew see the truth.
But then like someone else is actually very interesting. Like so like technically like, I don't even think like Admiral Byrd like was actually flat earther. Like wasn't he like more of a hollow earther or something like that?
I Yeah, I think there's also pretty good information out there that he was a Freemason. So
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah. Well,
when
like
I
speaking of it, it's like 2 days ago, like I was actually listening to the Flat Earth Files, like me like this whole episode like talking about that.
Yeah, yeah. So like, there's a lot of me that wants to believe there's some extra land outside of
Yeah,
Antarctica, and that, like, but then you find out he was a Freemason, and you're like, well,
Mum, mum,
who
mum,
knows the
mum.
truth?
Yeah, I remember then like it comes so like I definitely am gone back and forth so like because like the whole thing is like on the one hand like we could be doing this whole revelation of the method but then like there's also like there's some other side like of the argument like which goes to be that like maybe he's just like I'm trying to mislead people. But having said, like, have you ever looked into the whole, like Iron Republic, or also like the books by Noah Confunden?
Yeah, not the Iron Republic. That's
Mhm.
on my list, but yeah, that's actually currently what I'm reading now, is um, that the navigator that crossed the ice
Yeah,
wall. Yeah,
yeah.
I'm
William
on the
Morris, I
third
think it
one
was.
right now.
Yeah, so like I've actually read one of them but like it's definitely very interesting stuff, especially because like the author like, presents like this like concept all the other planets are actually just like other lakes essentially and like the thing is like all these other lakes like are all like actually run by the custodians
Right.
like run by the same like parasite class so like I definitely find it all like very interesting man like something else it was definitely make tons of sense. Like the thing is, the controllers, ruling class, whatever you want to call them. If there actually was a more land beyond the ice wall, so many of our problems, like we actually have, will be solved. Especially because so the thing when it comes when it comes to taxing our land, convincing people resources are unlimited. Like the thing is if there was actually more land beyond the ice wall, basically every issue gets solved. So
Yeah, it'd be like take a hike. I'm sick of being ruled by tyrants.
right, yeah,
I that those books mess with me a little bit. I'm not gonna lie, because like I'm a big like with my awakening, I'm a big Bible guy now. Like
right,
everything, I think like the if you look at things through the lens of the Bible,
mhm,
you can make sense of everything, like giants and things like that.
right,
But when I read that book, like they talk about how giants were in the books like allies of ours and they were friends and they were trying to help like save us from the tyranny of the custodians. So like
mhm.
it gives like mixed messages
Right,
and
yeah. Well, I actually had Paul Stobbs my podcast. I want to say 2 weeks ago. He was actually talking about this idea, so many of the Nephilim were actually evil, actually used to eat men and stuff like that. So
yeah, I like like it's pretty clear in the Bible that the Nephilim pre-flood were just like nasty, killing, cannibalistic, and
right,
like but like I was asking, I don't know if you know who Josh Monday is. He's got
yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
I was asking him the
I
other day
follow
because
him.
he's so good with the Bible, and I'm just like, is there evidence that
Mm.
the Nephilim and giants were as wicked after the flood? Because when you start looking into the mud flood and just Tartaria, and you see like the giant doors, it almost seems like the giants were living amongst us, and it wasn't like
Benevolent, possibly even, right?
yes, exactly. So then when
I'm
I read the
curious about that.
yeah, when I read the Nos
Interesting.
Confunden, then and it's talking about like the giants trying to help us. I don't know. It messes with my brain. But then here's my other thought: is like, okay, is Nos Confunden, is that for people who believe in flat Earth, and then they're still trying to pull? It's like the way to pull the flat earthers away from God, to like
Mm.
point them towards aliens and things still, instead of like the realm we
Hmm.
live in. Just thoughts I have.
Or could it actually possibly be that the firmament may actually cover go over all these planes and so maybe it's possible the firmament is actually above us and also below us maybe it's possible maybe the plane it could actually be endless would that line up with anything biblical or would that go against it?
Yeah, it's a good question because like exactly, like I've done posts on that where like maybe there's a firmament and then a bigger like maybe
Right,
there's different, and then sometimes I even think maybe the like it doesn't necessarily go against the Bible, but it's not for it because it only talks about one moon and one sun. But
right,
maybe the Bible is just for our creation,
yeah,
maybe
yeah,
it's like it
yeah,
literally could be like there's
exactly,
another Bible for another realm or land over here.
exactly.
So I don't think it goes against it, but I don't know. It's always it's fun to read and it's fun to watch. I did a
Mhm.
post, that same post with I did a really David Weiss has an awesome video where he's filming an eclipse and you can see a
Another sun, is
yeah,
it
like
or
the
something like that?
projection. It's like the actual projection of the sun, because what we see then would just be like the image of the sun or the heat from it, and it's almost like seeing a rainbow. Like the sun isn't a physical object, but there's the source of the sun is beyond the firmament, and you can see it. And then I did a post just how like that sun beyond the firmament could potentially be lighting up other domes. Just
Right.
like scientifically, it would be possible.
Well, like speaking of this, like, aren't there like some people like who even like talk about like this concept of the in black sun possibly even?
Yeah, I've seen. I think it's a big free or like Masonic thing, but I think
Oh,
there's a lot.
okay.
But there's people that aren't Masonic, I think, that
Right.
talk
Yeah.
about it, and potentially, like there's something that has to be eclipsing the sun because it's not the moon. Like,
Yeah.
like there's never been any record of seeing the moon eclipse it, and yeah, people like the mainstream narrative is like, well, because the moon or the sun is behind the moon, it's not lighting up the moon, so you wouldn't see it. But that's not what's happening. There's something else eclipsing the sun. So maybe that it could be the black sun, and it's all so fun to think about and kind of theorize.
Does the Bible mention anything like when it comes to eclipses or more no?
I don't think so.
I don't
If
think
it
so either.
has, and like I'm not the
Right.
Bible expert. Like I'm much better at the scientific aspect
Yeah. Yeah.
of flat Earth, but I feel like if there was something that it mentioned, I would know it because I have
Right.
gone down the flat Earth Bible like part, but I don't know. I have never heard of it. I'm going to ask Josh Monday as soon as I
Yeah.
get off the podcast with you.
Wait. So like I'm also curious. So like what are your thoughts? So like I definitely heard like some people like claim like every single Bible like has been like manipulated like and like messed with like so many times. Like what are your thoughts like when it comes to that?
Yeah, I think for sure, because even like on page 1 with the firmament and in Genesis, like I've seen Bibles that say, instead of like the firmament being above, or like God created the firmament, it says the word space or sky,
Really?
or yeah. And so like I think anytime you're having to interpret something from a different language, and then when you're the more times you have to interpret it, I think things can accidentally get changed or manipulated. But I think there's
Right.
probably some intentional manipulation. I
Yeah.
think I think the book of Enoch was intentionally taken out. I think that probably really should be part of the Bible, and I think it was taken out intentionally. One, partly so maybe there would be 66 books of the Bible, which seems kind of coincidental to me. And then two, there's just so much information in that lets you know more about the place you live. So
Right.
yeah, I think unfortunately there's definitely manipulation. I think, for me, the Bible, I think the teachings of Jesus Christ are just like amazing to just try to lead your life in a positive, like kind
Right.
way. So that's where I look to it most. And then the flat earth stuff for me is just bonus.
Yeah, so like getting back to like, like some of these scientific proofs, like so it's like what are some of your main like scientific go-tos? It's like explain some of the spinning ball model. Like absolutely makes zero sense. Like so it's like another famous like globe question. Like I hear like a lot of people like asking is like, what are the other planets? How is every other planet like a ball? Like Mars is this flat pancake, like
Yeah.
which obviously the whole like psyop like behind flat Earth, like which is like this way of getting people like to not even look into it.
Yeah. It's hard, when people, obviously most people who have not really done any digging and researched flat earth is, or if they have for a couple minutes, like, yeah, you get the flat pancake, and that, that our belief is that it's flat pancake, and we're just the only flat pancake amongst all the other planets that are different.
Balls,
Yeah.
all these
But like
other.
we, like the entire system is different. It's not just the shape of the earth, but like the entire system, because it's all here, like everything is here and close. And for us, it's not, if anyone who actually takes the time and looks through a telescope or a great Nikon camera will see that the stars and the planets aren't what they show us. They're not at all what they show us. And if you take the time and research. And when I first started researching, what I did and what I thought helped me to like decipher, because I was finding so many lies and I didn't know who to trust. And for me, if there are thousands upon thousands of individuals, and these individuals are all posting stars and they look way different than the one or two organizations, the government organizations, aka NASA, that are showing you images, and it's like, well, I'm going to trust these thousands of people that have no connection. They're not connected at all.
Affiliated with any.
Yeah, they're just random
Right.
people and all showing that. I'm going to trust thousands of individuals instead of the one government agency when
Mm,
I don't trust the government already. But why would I take
right.
their word? And they're the government, NASA is the one that puts out everything for pictures of the solar system. They're the pictures that are in all the textbooks. Like, they control everything. So I think for people to start to open their mind is like, yeah, like flat earthers know that up in the sky there's no other planet that you can go land a rover on. There's no physical
Right.
planet. And just take the time and look. Mars is
Mm,
like a light that looks like it's shimmering in water. And the planets are different than the stars because they do have their own path, like they're rotating around us, but within that rotation, they have their own separate rotation. That's why they were called the wandering stars, for thousands of years.
so, like, do you think like maybe it's even possible like some of these planets like it could even be like portals even?
Yeah, I think I've heard a lot of people talking about that to the sun, or maybe not even portals, but just windows to like the heavens. I
Right.
so
Interesting.
I don't know. I've got some pretty extreme thoughts on the stars, more than even most flat earthers, I think, just from some things I've discovered looking at them. So um, I don't know. I go back and forth. I really go back and forth with thinking they're angelic and spiritual in nature,
Mm.
or literally, I've got some crazy thoughts that they could be holographic in nature too.
Interesting. Wait. So like if the stars like actually were like holographic, like who would actually be the one like who's putting up these holograms?
Well, I think the same ones that are controlling the world, the same ones
Mhm.
that are indoctrinating us. To me, it's like I said, with the whole flat Earth lie in general. I think there are demons and spirits and some. This place is a much different place than I thought for the first 42 years of my life. I thought it was just
Right.
this physical world and everything was physical and could be proven through science. And I know it's not now. I've had many experiences over the past year with sleep paralysis and being demonically attacked in my dreams, and having orbs of light
Really?
and calling orbs of light to me, like on call, not just me seeing them. So
That's
um,
so
I,
interesting.
yeah, I know we're in a spiritual place. And um, the hologram stuff, I sound like a loon when I say that, I know. But um, what we can get into it more too, but like
Yeah.
in short, and I don't know if you've seen my post on this stuff, but
Yeah.
I have
I
found
have.
hundreds upon hundreds of dog images and the
Right.
stars.
Yeah. Yes. So like, my definitely would love for you to go deeper into this, like like explain your whole theory, like when it comes to like dogs being found every false flag event,
Yeah,
being found like everything like the news shows us like everything like we see from these Hollywood productions and like whatnot, like so like I definitely am super interested in like how you actually arrived at this theory, like and also like what you think like the purposes behind it.
yeah. There's a lot to it, but I'm happy to share as much as I can. It
Yes,
might take the rest of the show, but
that's
um,
and I'm like that's like super interesting. Like take as long as you need.
okay. Um, so what really led to my beginning of my awakening, my larger awakening, not just like health and nutrition and big pharma and 9/11, but to my bigger awakening of this place being a spiritual place and God being real and living on a flat, motionless realm was I I figured out the stars weren't what we were told, and I honestly can only say I did through the grace of God. And I know that, like if I would have heard myself say that a year ago, I would have been like, who is that person? But I don't think I'm special or any, yeah, I think we're all special. I don't
I
think
think so too.
I don't
Yeah.
think I'm any more special than you or anybody else,
Mhm.
but for whatever purpose, and maybe it's because I'm not afraid to speak out on crazy things, but
Right. Yeah.
for whatever purpose, God took my head and he turned it towards the stars, and only in like it was in such a crazy way that I can really only say it was him. And I guess I'll explain it, but um, I've always been interested in the stars. Like astronomy was my favorite class in college. I've always looked up, and I'm always just interested in the stars. So I have an app, a Starfinder app, and I use it. And one day I was just out in my front yard, and I had used this app hundreds of times, but I was looking at stars near Orion's belt, and
Mhm.
I was moving the app, and on the app, I'm not saying an actual star was following me, but on the app, one of the stars, anytime I moved the cursor, it would like follow me, and it had never done that before. It was like an anomaly in the app that I'd never seen, and I kept like I'd go over here, and then the cursor would like slowly. It was like it looked like in the app a star was moving in the app, and
Mhm.
it was just so bizarre. And I asked my wife to look at it, and she's like, "Yeah, that is weird. It just seems weird." So I screen recorded the app and me doing it, and it was weird to me, and like kind of forgot about it. Like a week later, I was like, "Oh yeah, I never even looked at that screen recording," and I looked at it in the app. The star was like pulsing and like just doing weird things. So I like enlarged it and blew it up, and it looked like it was like spinning really fast,
Mhm.
like it was spinning and pulsing, and I slowed it down, and when I slowed it down, I saw what to me looked exactly like dog images, and I'm like, well, that's weird. I'm like, is this app glitching out? Like
Right.
I have tons of dog photos on my camera. I'm like, is it somehow like taking my photos and like putting it in the app? And oh no, it's just weird. And I showed my wife. She's like, yeah, like I do see what you're talking about. It looks like there are dog images in this app star. So I just thought it was weird. And then I ended up looking, I was like, I wonder what that star is. And I ended up looking up the star, and I saw it was the star Sirius,
Mhm.
or Sirius. And I was like, oh, I'm going to research what that star is. And I researched what it was, and it's called the dog star. And I'm like, well, that's just like,
Really?
like, that's kind of blowing my mind. I'm like, what?
Uh-huh.
Like, I was like, okay, so this app is designed to like steal pictures from your phone and put it in the dog star because it's a
Right.
dog star. So I don't know, it kind of blew my mind a little. And then I decided, like, once that happened, I was like, well, I want to start looking at the stars more. So I started like doing what I said. I started going to like all these different people's home videos, amateur videos of stars. And I went to Sirius, and like the first time I did it, I zoomed in and I did the exact same thing. Because it was like, I mean, this star was just like going nuts, like colors and flashes. And like, I was like, that's weird. Because at this time, I still thought a star was you know, a gas ball trillions of
Trillions of
miles
miles
away. Yeah.
away.
I'm like, what is
Right.
going on here? So, like I did the exact same thing I did with the star in my app, as I screen recorded it and I slowed it down, and I'm like, I'm seeing dogs in this too. And like, I'm like, is my mind playing tricks on me? Because I'm like, there's something called pareidolia, where you see images, or you see things in images, but they're not actually there. They just kind of
Based on
resemble.
your own bias, is that or
Doesn't even have to necessarily be biased, but like, if there's like, like if you have wallpaper and there's like a certain, design, it could look like
Mhm.
something, but it's not actually something. But
Right.
it doesn't necessarily have to be your own bias. But I'm
Mhm.
looking at these and I'm like, that looks like a collie. That looks like a German Shepherd. I'm like, these aren't just like, so like, my mind's being blown. I'm verifying it with my wife, who my wife never sees anything that I want her
Right.
to do. Like, she's not doing it to, like, if anything, she would be like, no, you're an idiot. But she was like, oh, yeah. She's like, yeah, I see these. And so then I just kept going to star after star, and I was finding it in all sorts of stars. And I don't remember if that came first, like seeing it in the actual stars, or if I saw it. I was starting to find dog images in things like, like the Tesla in space. I'm watching that and I see like in the windshield, like there's just like a random, like kind of thing coming across, and it's supposed to be the Tesla in space. And like I do the same thing. I zoom in, I slow it down, and I'm like, that's a dog too. And it's like I was getting dogs from both directions. And I will have to say this, and this is where I lose people sometimes, is like
Uh-huh.
I was losing my dog. I'm a dog dad. I was losing one of my
Right.
dogs. He was at the end of his life, and like it was crushing my spirit. That was kind of
Mm.
like what led me into truth too, was like
Right.
I was looking into near death experiences. But
Interesting.
and people are saying, well, of course you're seeing dogs and things because your dog's dying. And I'm like, I was like, I think it's the other way. I think because my dog is dying, I'm aware of dogs and I'm seeing the dogs that
Yeah.
are actually there
Uh-huh.
because I'm dog focused. I'm not seeing dogs that aren't there. So anyway, long story short, I find dogs in the stars, but then at the same time, there are the controllers of the world, the people who, the satanic,
Mhm.
in my opinion, people that run this place hide dogs, kind of like a revelation of the method type thing. As
Why though?
my
What
opinion,
what's the
it's,
purpose
like
behind it?
everything to me, I always tie it back in like the lies of the world. They're to hide God. And I really,
Spiritual warfare,
yeah. And
basically?
I think dog, if you spell out dog, it's God backwards, and it's just a mockery
Mhm.
potentially of God. And
Inversion, right?
yeah, perfect inversion. And I know, sometimes I get, well, you know, dog is only dog in English, and that's like God isn't backwards in
Right.
other languages and things like that. But it's the best I can make of it. It
Yeah.
ties in perfectly to the way they invert everything and mock Jesus and God. And I've found the dog images not only all in the stars a lot, but um, like anything. And if I like were to go, if I were to get off this right now and go on the news and scroll through and find something that looked like, oh, they could lie about this, like there will be dog images there.
Really?
And then I've I've tried to verify that by going to things that I don't think the line, and I'm not seeing dog images and things that aren't false flags or aren't things
Yeah.
designed in the news to
Like
invoke a
speaking of
reaction.
speaking of chicken, didn't you actually send me like something like, talking about like some tsunami that was happening, and then like you can
Yeah.
actually see like within these massive like waves, like it was like my main clear picture like of the outline of a dog.
Yeah, and that's the exact type of stuff it's in. And like I found it in the 9/11, the plane
Right.
smoke. And I'm not saying that bad things aren't happening, that
Yeah.
people aren't dying,
Of
but
course.
I think
It's
when there's
happening a different way, as
yeah,
opposed like to the whole mainstream narrative, like everyone's being told.
yes, 1,000%. And like I know people died in 9/11, but exactly like you said, like that, it's almost, it's like The Simpsons. It's literally revelation of the method. Hey,
Right.
I think it's mockery of God, but I also think it's, hey, you morons, there are dogs scattered in all this and you don't see it. And like, we're literally telling you this is
Yeah.
like make believe, or we're lying about it. And you're too blind and dumb to see it because you're too busy like watching your football and
Hmm.
doing all these things. And I'm guilty of that
Yeah.
too. But
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. Yeah. Of
I'm not judging people, but I'm just
course.
saying it's I think it's there. And like once I tell people, and once people get past the fact that it sounds crazy and start looking, I've had a lot of people be like, now I see dogs in everywhere. Like there was a house explosion in where was it? One
Was
of the
that the one in Miami, or is there
no, it was
another
in
one?
Virginia, I
Oh
think.
yeah, yeah, yes, yes,
Yeah, and
that's
like
right.
and I went on that, and like they're just like there's just dog images all in it. And like I said, it's not pareidolia where you're seeing, it's like purposefully put in dog faces everywhere. And
Right.
most like I think I first found it in NASA stuff. And like
Really?
if you know anything about, like if you've researched NASA at all,
Yeah.
like you see pretty quick that they're full of
Mhm.
it.
I mean, like something that's actually like very interesting. Like, so, like one of my initial like awakenings like to the whole like flat Earth stuff like was actually based around like so like I actually was looking into the whole story behind like Werner von Braun. I mean, like I actually found out like on like his tombstone like actually says like Psalms 19:1 like it was actually explicitly talking about the firmament, like which is
Yeah,
so crazy that it's like and then also like Ness like obviously has such like dark history so, like one of them was actually one of them Hitler's right hand guys and then like taking that one step further like he's actually very good friends with Walt Disney like the whole thing is like NASA was actually founded right after like Admiral Byrd's mission. So like the whole like timeline is like so like interesting. Like like Admiral Byrd's mission, like Operation High Jump. Like I'm pretty sure that was like 1958. I want to say, and then like right after that, like. Could have been 1957. Like then like right after that, like you then have the Antarctic Treaty getting signed, like which is like 1958. Like I mean, like right after that, like NASA gets founded. Like so, like my whole like theory behind that, like is like that whole like sequence of events, like is actually designed to get everyone like to stop looking outward for more land, and then like to get everyone like start looking upward.
yeah,
What do
thousand
you
percent
think?
agree. And I think not only you know, stop looking out, but up. I agree with that. But also, if they could go up and show a fake image of the globe,
Right.
like they just won. You know, like they're going to
Mhm.
sell everybody on that until you realize
Yeah.
they're full of crap. And like you're saying too, like one of my, like connecting the dots to me is like all I like to do. It's like,
Same,
and it's like if
same
you,
here. I love
like
all
if
that
you
stuff.
just hear the one thing, if you just hear, well, Werner von Braun was like a German Nazi brought over an
Right.
Operation Paperclip, like that's just one thing.
Mhm.
And like that, even that alone, you're like, okay, well, wait, and a Nazi was part of like
Ye-
the guy running all the space
Uh,
missions. Like
uh,
that should set off alarms. But then when you start connecting those dots, like it's like, oh, and then like the
well,
666 and all the numbers, and like
yeah,
keep going, and it,
and then also like isn't there like actually this one like Disney World club that's actually called like the 33rd Club
yeah, yeah, yeah,
something like that.
yeah, exactly,
It's like it's like everything is actually right there like for everyone like to actually like research, but like everyone just like the thing is like so from the time like everyone like is in like kindergarten like everyone like gets shown the globe model and like everyone gets taught like dinosaurs like evolution Big Bang Theory like all this false history so as soon as like everyone gets taught that like the thing is like everyone gets kept busy and distracted for the next like however many years like a lot of people won't even like take any time like to actually research and stuff like part of that is actually based on like the whole like Rockefeller education system design like to like, create like this nation of workers like rather than like a nation of thinkers.
yeah, and that's I told you I'm fired up today, and part of it is that just kind of
Yes.
I've been I've been put on, I call it a gag order at school. Like
Really.
I'm back, and they told me at one point, I had a meeting before going back because they, like my social media is all public and
Yeah.
students follow it and teachers follow it. And
Mhm.
so they all know what I'm about, but
Right.
they were very worried about it. And they literally told me, we had this conversation and the head of HR was like, okay, Tyler, now if a student asks you if you believe in flat earth, what would you say? I was like, I would say yes. And she goes, I can't let you back in the building. Then I was like,
What?
exactly. So I was like, I got to the point in that meeting where I could at least say, yes, I believe in it.
Mhm.
and then just try to de-escalate and not let it
Right.
carry over and not. I'm like, I'm not going to go to school and preach to kids there's like the earth is flat. Like I'm just not going to do that. Like
Yeah.
it's not appropriate. I'm not a science teacher.
Not the right
I want
like
to, but I
right.
wouldn't do that. And so I had a meeting the other day again, just being like, hey, like I don't see, and like their big thing is it goes against curriculum, and like
Mhm.
fine, but you know what, like I'm a PE teacher and a health teacher, and the entire time I've been a teacher, I have thought the nutrition information in the health books is garbage, and I've
Yeah.
gone against curriculum, and they've never had a problem with me doing that. They've never said you can't go against curriculum if you believe that. So to me, it was an issue of like, well, I understand if I'm pushing it on kids, but like I should be able to tell kids how I believe it. And if they're, I had a
Right.
kid come up to me the other day. He's like, I follow you on Instagram. You posted something on the sun. I'm so curious about how the sun works on a flat earth. And I was like,
Mhm.
if it's not interrupting class time, if it's a one-on-one, like I don't see how that's an issue. And they
Yeah.
clearly did, and basically gave me an ultimatum and were like, well, maybe public school system isn't for you if you can't like abide by these rules. And I just like, like I've been fired up all day because the meeting was yesterday, and
Really.
it's sad, because we're
It
in a
is
school
sad.
system where we should encourage kids to see different sides of things and make their own decision and think
Right.
critically, but we don't want to do that. We want
Mhm.
to make sure they memorize the curriculum. And that's
Mhm.
goes back to exactly what you said of, Rockefeller didn't want thinkers.
Right.
He wanted workers. He wanted
Uh-huh.
a nation of workers, and that's what he's getting, like people who don't think critically about things. And it's sad because, we've got all this equity stuff we're doing at school, and it's like be accepting of others, don't treat people
Right.
differently. But now, like, I'm the prime example of they're
Mhm.
not being accepting of me. They're treating me different. So it's just a bunch of crap, is what it is.
It's honestly, it's like so like I'm sickening. Like like so like you hear something like really interesting. Like like a lot of my followers like probably don't even like realize this like about me. Like like I was actually at Cornell like university. Like something's actually really really interesting. Like it's like the whole narrative like when it comes to flat earthers like is always like oh this guy has to be like super like uneducated like all you flat earthers like are so dumb all you guys like we're all like probably like all these high school dropouts like all that stuff but like like it's like actually I'm always like very well like in school but having said that, like actually like absolutely hated school, especially because like and I mean like actually awakened like to all these truths until the past like few years like as a result like my whole like health experience and then like
Yeah.
the like COVID situation awakened me and like my sort of like listen to all these like podcasts like I started to do like all this like independent research like my sort of like find like all these like unbelievable like social media account like accounts and stuff like that. But like having said like I've actually always been someone like I actually never liked it like whenever any teacher would explain to me something along the lines of like that's just the answer like you have to like accept that like just because like that's just like what it is like so like I've actually always been someone like who wanted to go deeper like so I was always I was always like the kid like I'm in school like so I used to like raise my hand like a million times like I mean like might always be might always be saying why but then like my whole like health experience like actually started like 3 weeks into like my first ever college semester like when I was at Cornell but then like it ended up transferring to NYU which honestly like I actually hated being there like my consent because like the whole thing is like the whole education system is so messed up like I'm it's basically it's definitely pure indoctrination I'm like like anyone like who thinks differently their thoughts like aren't going to be accepted like man like they're never going to be tolerated. Like, so something is like being part of like the current school system, like is like basically all about like you either have to like go along I mean like being someone like who knows the truth, like so you have to like, go along, I mean like follow all the lies, I mean like end up like miserable there. Like more on the other hand, like you have to like find like other other forms of education, I guess.
Yeah, God, I have so much to say.
Love that.
One, yeah, like school to me, like I was never someone that enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Like it's a prison for kids. Like it's soul crushing. Humans weren't meant to be inside in a desk for 8 hours a day, and it just I'm fortunate because I don't have to teach anything in my class that I don't agree with. Like right
Right.
now, I just teach physical education. I'm just in the weight
Mhm.
room teaching kids how to move better, how to lift well, how
That's
to
good.
and I talk about the nutrition that I think, not what's in the book. So
Yeah.
I don't have to teach anything I don't agree with. Now the health teachers I feel terrible for because
Mm.
they're getting stuff crammed down their throat and having to like teach about human trafficking is their new thing, and I don't, like that's being shoved down their throat, which I don't know, I have different thoughts about that, but like
Yeah.
just the stuff they have to teach is I would not feel good about. If I was a science teacher, I wouldn't feel good about it. If I was a history teacher, I wouldn't feel good about
Mhm.
it. But that being said, I don't I don't think it's a I don't think it's something I want to be a part of much longer.
Right.
I'm looking in other avenues, and my wife and I potentially want to move away from Chicago and just kind of done with winters. So, yeah, it's rough. It's going to be rough. I think I'm just going to have to bite my tongue unless I, want to run the risk of getting fired. And they,
Right.
unfortunately, yeah, they have the power. And I went into the meeting thinking like I got nothing to lose. Like I don't really care if they fire me, but that's not true. I want to at least finish out the year
Right.
and like get my paychecks and, you know,
Sometimes though, everything has like this like weird way of like working out like for the better. So sometimes like in life, I definitely have like discovered like God, like and like the universe, sometimes leading us like away from things that like don't actually suit like our higher purpose. It can actually leading us towards things that actually do align us with that.
yeah, man, I agree with you so much on that. Like um, I've wanted to move for a long time. I've felt handcuffed to my job, and I've
Mm.
felt handcuffed to being close to my immediate family, who I've always been super close with. And like, I don't feel handcuffed to my job, and my family hasn't been super supportive through this. I love them dearly, but
Mm.
I don't think I feel that responsibility to stay close to them
Right.
like I have. So, yeah, I have just motivation and passion to start something new and big and go in a completely different direction. And there's not 1 ounce of doubt in my mind and my heart that I'm not going to be super successful at it because I'm just like driven and motivated right now. And yeah, it's going to be a different career and a new path, but like I'm going to crush whatever I tackle just
Yeah.
because like that's how I just put my energy in it and like
Mhm.
give it my all. And so I'm not worried. And kind of, like for sure, like that was the hand of God just like directing me in a different direction.
Yeah.
And I've, like I don't want to say this, like I said earlier, I don't think I'm more special than anybody else, but there's been since the day I can remember, there's been something inside of me that felt like I was meant for something more. Like I wasn't doing what I was here to do. And um, part of me, like I was telling a friend this the other day, but part of me kind of thought it was like maybe my dad has like a big ego. And I thought maybe it was like my dad's ego in me, but like I don't think it's that. I think I was meant to find God because I never had God in my life.
Mhm.
And I think I was like put on this planet to like help people see truth and like spread that. And like when I found like this awakening to spirituality and to flat earth and to the Bible and to God, like it right away I was like, this is it. Like this is what I've been feeling my whole life, that I was put here for a purpose. And like it just like immediately knew it. I was like, this is like I knew I was meant for this, and
Right.
I was just God was probably just waiting for me to be ready to tackle it.
Yeah, I'm actually totally with you on that. So something else like I actually want to tie into this whole like perspective, being someone like who's been healing from this whole like life-threatening illness for ever since 2014. One way of looking at like my whole like, situation. Could have been I'm saying to the universe, God, what why did this happen to me? But then in recent years, I've actually started to like flip that. I started to I started to like realize that like all this like was actually happening for me. And
Yeah,
like the thing is like my whole life, like I actually always wanted to be able to like, inspire people, I was like one of the I was like wanted to like show people like anything like is possible. Like so like the thing is like what better way to show that like like to go through like a whole life threatening endless like, situation, and like you can actually come back stronger and then like better like I'm on like the other side of that, and then like from there like to actually create like social media platform, and then like to like still like continue like with all my athletic feats, like with all my strength feats, and like to actually use it all like as this like massive way of like I'm showing people I'm like broadcasting it and then also like I'm having like incredible like conversations like with people, and like bringing it all together but the thing is everything like everything had to happen the exact way that it did in order for me to come here like to be like talking to you right now. So it's like it's definitely like very interesting how God gives us like these challenges, and it's like helps us it's like find our like purpose like through them, like to actually go through the challenge rather than avoid it as like some people do.
yeah. This reminds me, and like I've tried to. Well, I'll tell this story. My best friend for the past 20 years is a teacher. He's an English teacher, and unfortunately, we're not really friends anymore. My journey to the truth, he was someone I thought would be there for me forever, but um, he he just couldn't deal with my thoughts and my beliefs, and we're not friends anymore. But the point of what I'm trying to get at is he's an English teacher, and he used to have this assignment for his students that would talk about. He would say, write down your 5 most impactful life experiences that have like shaped who you are today. And he told me about that, and I like just went through, and I was like figuring out mine, and I wrote them down, and I looked at the list, and every single one of the 5 was a completely negative experience. It was
Really.
something bad that happened to me, like getting bullied as a kid, or like
Mhm.
my parents getting divorced, or it was like something bad, but it helped me learn something. It helped me to learn to not treat people poorly, like it was a bad thing that I learned from, and it helped shape me in a positive way. So yeah, like exactly what you're saying, like it's all perspective. That if you get everyone has shitty things happen, some
Right.
worse than others, but like if you can learn something from it, or like put a positive twist on it, like it's not the things that happen, it's how you respond to them, because everyone's
Mhm.
gonna like shit happen.
Right. So,
So
like based on that, why do you think certain people able to like deal with these challenges better than others? Truthfully, you kind of seem tie this concept back into the whole why is it certain people are able to like truly be free thinkers are able to put up with all of the nasty comments, but then other people shy away with shy away from that because then like maybe like deal with that. Like, so what do you think is that actually separates like people like we able to deal with that like from like those like who can't?
That's such a good question. And like the first thing that came to my mind just through my experience was like I immediately thought of my mother. And like when I was getting bullied as a kid, and that's a big reason to do with like why I'm so into fitness, is because I was like a
Right,
chubby kid and like whatever got bullied. But like instead of her coddling me or you know being like, oh, you poor baby, she was like, okay, like learn from it, make sure you
mm,
never treat people the way you're being
right,
treated. So I think for some people it's just the way they're brought up, the way they're taught from their parents, um, and just life experience. We all take different roads, like we all have forks in the road and decide to go some direction versus the others. I think what it really comes down to is like, are you willing to do hard things, or do you always take the easy road? And like the
right,
easy road is believing what you're told instead of researching
mm,
what you're told. The easy road is like, don't do the right thing because it's harder. It's easier to do like the wrong thing. So I
right.
think it's just people's willingness to challenge themselves and do what's right instead of what's easy.
Right, and I mean, like going along like those same lines, like so something that's like also like finally very interesting. Like so, it's like a lot of people like may not actually be able to like see like the connection like between all of my various topics like I was talking about on my social media, like so, like, would it be flat Earth, like would it be like all these like hard truth topics, like whether it be motivation, like fitness, but like the whole thing is it actually all like has an interesting way of like tying it together, especially because like so like for instance facing your fears or something like that. In order to be a main truther, it's like you actually have to be willing to like go down all these like unconventional paths. Like something like when it comes to like my whole like fitness journey, so like, in order for me to like jump the highest, like or to be able to like lift heavy weights. Like a lot of it, like all it ties back into taking taking the unconventional path, going down the road less traveled. Being able to like see everything like as like lessons and blessings.
Yeah, like I couldn't say it any better. It's and it's a choice. Like I think some people like to just be like, well, they're born that way, and like I feel like I've always been a little different than all
Same,
my friend group and
same
my
here.
even my family. And it's
Yeah,
like it's because I choose to be. I don't want to follow everyone else's path. I want
right.
to blaze my own trail. And
Mhm.
some people like it's I don't know. I really think it's a choice, and some people just choose to do the easy thing, like I said, and you and I don't.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, so like one of my other questions for you, so, like if let's just say like hypothetically speaking, the whole education system got him torn down tomorrow. I mean, you were the one who was like put in charge of building it all like back up. Like, how would you go about formulating the imperfect education system?
Oh man, I haven't. I've been on a bunch of podcasts lately, and I have never had that question. Um, I think I'd have a few different like keys. I think a lot of it would be movement based. I think it would
Right.
be experience based and movement based. And it's crazy right now. We have something that we do in school, and it's called Understanding by Design (UBD), and it's a big thing in schools in Illinois. And what this is basically there's an answer we want kids to get to. Okay, so let's say it's I live on a globe. Okay, here's
Mhm.
the answer: you live on a globe. You need to figure out how you come up to the end result that you live on a globe. It doesn't matter how you do it, as long as you get to the answer. Like, cool, you got to the answer. Instead of, hey, maybe the answer isn't right. Maybe we don't live
Right.
on a globe. Maybe we should explore everything. and think critically about it instead of not questioning what the answer is. And I think, like for me, if I was designing a school system, I would say like, let's question the answers. Not everything, is set in stone. Real science even changes all the time. Pseudoscience definitely changes all the time. But let's move, let's form relationships with people and like figure out how to like do things that matter in real life instead of just one of the other things that I always talk about with the Rockefeller school system is there's a quote that says, let's teach them everything about nothing. And that's like,
Really?
it's so true. It's like, like, oh my God, like, why the heck do you need to learn? Like
what's his name? Sean Hibbler. So when he always talks about why do kids always learn about like George Washington's wooden teeth? Like know absolutely nothing like when it comes to like true history.
Yeah, and I think truth would definitely be in it. Like let's find answers. Let's seek the truth. Let's seek real and not like don't just be told it. So I don't know.
Right.
I like kids need to move, especially depending on the age. Like especially young kids should not be in desks all day. I'm like, I don't even think like 16, 17, 18-year-olds should. Like get them experiencing things, let them ask questions. And it's a great question. And I haven't fully given it, but it would definitely be question based, movement based, and like truth based, and just like learn how to treat people better. Like learn how to like treat people with love, kindness, and respect, regardless of different opinions. I actually had, the other day, like my staff was really welcoming when I came back. I was a little worried about it. Everyone was super kind. Kids were welcoming first week, and then this week I actually had two separate incidences where it was a group of 5 kids, and they both groups did it the same way. The freshman kids did this. They had one kid pretend to be a flat earther, and they waited till I walked by.
Really?
They said to the kid when I walked by, "You effing idiot, the world's not flat." And they said to the kid is kind of like a chicken shit way to like say it to me. So I ignored it, and then I walked by again, and they saw me ignore it, so they said it again, and I just kind of gave them a look like, you little pieces of crap. I ignored it, but then I went into the locker room, and I went into the locker room.
How you did that?
Yeah, like it gets even worse. But so I went in the locker room, in an upper class group of kids do the same thing. Wait till I walk by, and they said, "You moron!" But they're talking to the kid. "You moron! We live on a globe." And then I ignored it the first time, and I walked by, and they did it again. And I look at these 5 kids, and I was like, "Do you have something to say to me?" And the one kid's like, "He said it. He said it."
Wow.
And I said, "Hey, like, here's a good learning lesson for you. Like in life, you're going to come across a lot of people who do not think the same way as you, who do not believe the same way as you. And that's okay to have different thoughts and beliefs, but you always need to be respectful and kind to people." I was like, "You're not being that right now." And I was like, it made me sick to my stomach, not because these kids hurt my feelings or upset me at all. What made me sick is I'm a 210-pound, 43-year-old man that could have kicked the shit out of all 5 of them at the same time. And they're not afraid to bully me. So like, what are they doing to these other poor defenseless kids? It made me really upset on that level.
That's honestly so sad, especially because there's definitely like a lot of the kids like out there who for whatever reason have been growing up like with this like sense of entitlement. Like the thing is that kids are actually incredible, generally speaking, that's supposed to be learned from them. So for instance, kids my masters living in the moment, but the whole education system is transformed something so for a lot of years I was actually a camp counselor. So really
Yeah.
So yeah, like something is like very interesting. Like some of them, these kids were actually showing off like stay true like who they were. But then like something else, I noticed like showing like other kids that so some of these kids I would see them like 5 years later, and they just like turn into these like absolute like jerks, and like some of them like just like, became like products like of this evil system. But like having said like my current best friend like James like interestingly enough like he's actually one of my former campers, which is actually so cool. Like I'm honestly like so blessed to have like this like incredible like best friend like in my life.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's so cool.
Yeah.
I've gotten close with a lot of my students, who I keep in contact
Right.
with too, and a lot, especially the kids I coached. But that's really cool that
Right.
you guys have the channel together,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
don't like I don't want to, man. Like there's so many nice, amazing kids at
Yes.
my school. Like when
Of
I was
course.
out, kids would email me and say they missed me, and I had kids come back and they were, said they missed me, and like the vast majority of kids are so kind and so nice.
Yes.
But like, it's those other kids that are just bullies, and it comes from insecurity. They pick
Yeah.
on people because they don't feel good about themselves,
Right.
and they
Hmm.
probably don't even realize that. But it just makes me sad because I know
Hmm.
there's some 13-year-old boy out there who can't defend himself, and
Right.
they're picking on him.
Hmm.
It's sad.
So like this actually leads me into like one of my other questions. Like like when you actually first get into the whole the whole truther community, like what did you actually discover when it actually came to like some of the other truth seekers other like me and personally I actually realize how like kind nice welcoming some of these people like actually are. When like meanwhile it's actually the people who are on the other side who are actually the ones telling you to stop thinking for yourself and telling you how dumb you are. Isn't it so interesting how I'm obviously every group is gonna have their bad seeds. I've definitely found the overwhelming majority flat earthers free thinkers are actually oftentimes some of the nicest people.
Yeah, I've always been someone that has been, it probably because I had like bullying issues when I was a kid. I've always
Mm,
been someone that's like I'm very slow to let people in. I'm slow to make friends. Um,
right,
like the first 10 years after I graduated college, I probably made like two really good friends, and
right,
I've always been like that. And I, I think I'm realizing part of the reason I was like that is because I wasn't coming in contact with a whole lot of people who were similar and like-minded and had the
yeah,
same like goals and mindset and values. And like when I came into this truth community,
the
especially
same
flat
way.
earth, like flat earth, I think for whatever reason is extra kind and accepting and welcoming. Cause I think most flat earthers, like if you weren't a believer in God, you become a believer in God.
Yeah. Hmm.
And they just have the same desire to help people see truth and
Hmm.
see past the lies. So yeah, like I've made fast friends with people that I haven't even ever met in person. Like
Right.
you and
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
chat frequently, and like after
Uh-huh.
this, I'm sure we'll chat like 10 times more. And
Yeah. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
guys like these guys on the Firmamental podcast.
Uh-huh.
These guys are super nice. Alex and Raul, Josh Monday, I talked to. Like, I talked to a handful of people now that I don't just consider like online friends, but like friends,
Right.
and it's yeah, like you said, it's the truther community is awesome. It really is, and
Yeah.
I haven't met one person who would consider themselves a truther that like I don't think is a just kind, caring person.
Mhm. And also, speaking with, one of my other co-hosts, the one who usually co-host the Rabbit Hole Roundup episodes like we do so it's like me and him actually met so we actually met I want to say maybe probably 8 months ago or something like that. And the thing is me and him started connecting me and him actually met at my gym. Interestingly enough both of us actually got on this one other podcast. And so he actually came up to me me and him just started talking about going conspiracy stuff. And then we ends up doing my weekly episodes together. So
That's so fun.
yeah.
I wish I don't have one person like that in my personal life.
Right.
I've met so many people online, but I don't have one person that is within 100 miles of me that I can talk to that stuff about. So that's that, and part of that is why I got so big into posting online and posting on Instagram and TikTok is because I didn't have an avenue to get it out of me. I had so much in me that I just wanted to tell people, and no one wanted to hear it. So
expression,
yeah. Right. So I started.
We all need that. I
just
think
putting it all out online, and gotten a decent following, especially on TikTok, where all this stuff isn't as censored as much. But now I'm passionate about it. Now, I started it out of necessity, just to not feel pent up. But now it's man, I just love it. It's fun. As soon as we get off here, I'm probably going to go make a post on how. Did you see how there was a clip of Oprah tripping and falling, or no?
No.
There's some clip of Oprah.
I didn't see that.
Totally falling. But in my opinion, I think it might be a hologram, and I think it's testing some hologram technology. Yeah, so I'm gonna probably work on that after we get off. Just
wait. So I actually have 2 more questions for you.
Oh yeah.
For this episode, I'm definitely gonna have to have you back on multiple times. One of my questions for you, what do you think was going on at the North Pole? I was watching one of your posts probably a week ago, talking about these lights and stuff so. I definitely found all very interesting. I want to get more of your thoughts on that.
Yeah, man, I love researching. That's not true. When I first got into health and nutrition, man, I just I wanted to learn it all. So I just researched until I felt like I was
same here.
Yeah. Till I just felt like I was this wealth of knowledge. So now it's the same thing, except I'm just always looking for truth. And, I feel like I've found some things that nobody else has found in a few different ways. But one of them was I was researching Mountain Dew does some predictive programming. They've got literally their flavors come out, and they have the Maui Blast, and they have the Mountain Dew, Mountain Dew, the direct energy weapon.
DEW.
Yes, exactly. And they're so they have the Maui Blast, they have a Baja Burst, and there was the Baja Floods. And I don't know if I was searching for something I think I was searching for something for, they talk about the Antarctic Treaty a lot with Flat Earth, but I was looking for an Arctic treaty and came across something talking about the Cold War and how they wanted to prevent any, Russia from coming across the top of the globe and attacking from that way. So they created something called they were creating a dew line that was supposed to be this giant security perimeter to detect if anyone was coming from Russia. But in my opinion, I think when Admiral Byrd went and, he explored the South and perhaps found the firmament, down in the South. And in my opinion, part of all the extra land stuff is maybe that's the lie. And they don't want people going there because you might find that the firmament comes down to the ground. So I think what I found was there's something called the dew line. And I think that that wasn't security to protect people from coming across, but perhaps going into closer to the center of the flat Earth, where in old maps, there's something called the Mercator map. There's this giant, huge mountain there. And there's these 4 islands that surround this mountain. and these are legitimate maps from the 1500s.
Is
So
that
I,
connected to the whole
yeah,
Rupus
yeah,
Negro
yeah,
Black Rock?
yeah,
Is that
exactly. It
connected
was
to that?
called. I think there's two. It's Mount Meru, or it's been
Right.
called Rupus Nigra, which yeah, BlackRock. If anyone knows, like they own everything, and it's like truth in plain sight. Which
Mm-hmm.
I think like as I was piecing things together, um, when you get there's a in my opinion, the Cold War was to literally have an excuse to send people up to that territory in the north and to create all this perimeter and security so people would not go find this giant magnetic mountain or perhaps even like the toroidal field that kind of creates our realm or is like the
Right.
perimeter of our realm. If they wanted to pull off the globe lie, if anyone finds that, you immediately know that, hey, we're not living on a globe. There's like some crazy mountain projecting all these northern lights and things. But what I put together was there's a flavor of Mountain Dew called Cold War. And and obviously Mountain Dew itself came out the year after Admiral Byrd went to the North Pole.
Really?
So it's like they have something called the dew line that is, and it's Mountain Dew. So you're hiding a mountain with the dew line, and then they have a flavor called Cold War. It's so much easier if like you see the video because it just like presents it well. I
Right.
don't think I'm
Yeah.
explaining it well, but
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I think if we could all go to the North Pole, we would
Mm-hmm.
see things that would blow our mind.
Yeah. I
I
think
think
so
perhaps
too.
the Aurora Borealis could be coming from, that's right there below Polaris. That could be spiritual stuff, all those colors that
Mm-hmm.
could be coming out of the like kind of like we talked about, like the inner earth. Who knows?
Yeah.
But we should be able to go there and we're not able to go there
Yeah.
just like we're not able to go to Antarctica.
Yeah, it's honestly so crazy. Come on, one of these days, like all of us like have to like get together. And then, Sean have a actually mentioned this like when he came up on the podcast. So like one of these days, like everyone just has to like get together and just like swarm like Antarctica, and then
Yeah.
just like it's like because the whole thing is let's just say like 2 million of us like all like got together and like swarmed in Antarctica.
Yeah. Just bum rush it.
Yeah, yeah, like these people like aren't gonna shoot everyone.
Yeah, I know.
I'd
And
hope.
it's that was a fun one just because when I was trying to I already knew the Mountain Dew predictive programming stuff
Right.
with the Maui and the Baja.
Yeah.
And then when I
Mm,
found when I was looking for stuff with that, and it was there, and I was like, I had
mm,
never heard of the Dew line, and I just found that very interesting.
yeah.
It was a fun find.
Mm-hmm. All right, wait. So like my last question, like from this episode, like so like in 2024, like do you expect to see like any of these quote unquote like extraterrestrial creatures that like emerging? Like are we gonna see any return of them the Nephilim? Like or on the other hand, like is all gonna be Project Bluebeam like holograms and like that type of stuff?
It's a good question, and it's like it feels like and it seems like they're ramping up for something. What I always think about, because like I don't like I'm a deep thinker about this stuff, and I always
Mhm.
try to. I don't think they do anything unintentionally, and there's so many people know about Project Bluebeam now. Like that
Yeah,
is like people who aren't
mainstream
even yeah
almost.
part of people who aren't even truthers have sometimes at least heard of it. So for me, I'm like, oh, like okay, they lie about lies, and that's like how they do things. It's not just one lie; they lie about lies. So like it really confuses you. So it's like
Mhm.
to me, it feels like they want people like you and I to know about Project Bluebeam.
Yeah,
So when something actually happens, perhaps like maybe real, you know, extraterrestrials from the
extraterrestrials.
outer lands are coming in,
Right,
and they
yeah.
want people like us to be like, oh, we just think that's Project
It's all
Bluebeam.
Bluebeam.
Yeah, like, or maybe it's not extraterrestrials, maybe it's angelic beings coming down, and
Fallen
we'll
angels.
see them and we'll be like, oh, that's just a hologram instead of it actually being angelic beings, maybe come in here to help us, maybe come in here to like for tribulation, who knows? But
That's interesting.
I don't know if I think this year, I think something big's coming this year because it's an election year and but I think they're prepping for something big for sure, but maybe a few years down the line.
Yeah.
But definitely, and like I said, I think there's going to be some real stuff. I don't know how the time constraint on this, but like one thing that I found super interesting was I guess it's been a couple months now. There were a lot of people talking about the moon, like how the moon was missing for a few extra days. Like obviously, whether you're a globe believer or a flat Earth believer, the moon has cycles. But there was a time when it seemed like the moon was missing for a few extra days. So I like started looking into it, and I pulled out my Starfinder app, and I'm just like doing these different things. And one was what was really weird is it should have been an eclipse. Like they were aligned, even though it wasn't in a moon cycle where you could see the moon. Like there were times where the sun and moon still aligned, and like so I found that very bizarre. But the weirdest thing was on the news, like the straight up news, they had David Copperfield on, and they were talking to him about how he was going to create this great illusion to make the moon disappear. Like I think it's in February he's supposed to do this illusion to make the moon disappear, and he was talking about, well, we've been practicing, so if you see anything weird in the sky, if you see any weird lights in the sky, that's just us practicing, and you should report it, like tag me in at David Copperfield. And I'm like, holy shit, there's going to actually be like real spiritual warfare going on. And they just want the normies to think, oh yeah, like that's just David Copperfield. I heard about that.
That's crazy.
Right? So that's the type of thing I think that maybe Project Bluebeam is like, because that whole thing came out because von Braun's secretary was talking about it. And I don't think that was unintentional. That seemed like very intentional, So those are my thoughts on it.
That's super interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Anyways, like it's been an absolute pleasure. I'm having you on. Like, wait, so like, do you want to tell my listeners like where to find you?
Yeah. I am on Instagram at fittest_flat_earther. And then all one word on TikTok, Fittest Flat Earther. I do a little bit more posting on TikTok because I don't have as many school and students and faculty following me. So I do a little bit more stuff over there. I actually just the other day had my first 1 million view post. So I was pretty psyched about that. Thank you.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, and I did start a YouTube page, but there's like nothing on there yet. Like I had transferred a few of my Instagram posts to it, but I've had a lot of people ask me to start it because my TikTok videos are starting to push like the longer. So I'm going to start doing some more YouTube stuff too. So, and that's the same thing, Fittest Flat Earther over there too. And thank you, my friend. I will come back anytime. I'm so glad we got to talk face to face.
Same here.
A lot.
Yes. So like this has been like an incredible conversation. Like everyone make sure to check out like all of Tyler's social media. Like if you haven't done so, like make sure to subscribe to my channel, and like I will catch you guys in the next video. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I hope you guys found this interesting, enlightening, truth-seeking, and so have an excellent rest of your day, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace.
Peace.